building dreams and achieving more, telling it just like it is. Most of all, keeping it real. Are you ready for real talk? Changing lives and communities. Real talk. Saving all our families. Real talk. Bringing hope for you and me. Real talk. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio.
So I have on the show with us this morning Bishop Derrick Mcrae. He is the pastor, the leader of Experience Christian Center in Orlando, Florida. And today I am so happy and honored to have him with me. He is one of my mentors. And Bishop, I am so excited to have you on. Welcome to the Real Talk with Judy show.
Glad to be here. I'm always excited to be with you. As you like to say, I'm one of your mentors. You're definitely one of mine as well. Been rocking with Pastor Judy since I was like 4 years old. And so we go way back. All the good, the bad, all the abuse that she gave to me, all those good things happened in the past, but the Lord has forgiven her and has restored her life. And we are super excited about what God is doing in her life today.
The Lord forgave me, Bishop.
The Lord forgave me.
Let me tell you, he's a bishop now. But Derrick Mcrae at age 4, 5, 6, 7, 18 was something else.
The Lord has done a mighty work.
The Lord has blessed him, and he is absolutely one of my favorite leaders. And we want to thank him so very much for all that he has given to me and all that you continue to give to me and to whatever I do. You're on it 100%. And I just greatly appreciate you. We haven't always agreed, but we have always been friends. And we see things. We talk until we get it. Yeah. And so, and I want to thank you. And I want you to just tell the people a little bit about you, and then we're going to get into what we come to serve the people today.
Awesome. Well, I'm Bishop Derrick Mcrae. I'm the senior pastor of the Experience Christian Center located here in Orlando, Florida. I started the church 11 years, it'll be 12 years in January this year. Started the church with about 22 people. God has blessed our ministries. We've grown tremendously. We're seeing some great work take place with us. Literally, our ministry expands to about 6 different counties that are coming in and participating with us. Currently, the president also of the African American Council of Christian Clergy, which is the largest African American council of Black pastors here in the Central Florida area. And so it's a great honor to also serve in that capacity. Board members serve several of the different areas. Ex-drummer, played a little bit of drums, taught by none other than Dr. Judy, who taught me how to play drums back in the day. But married, 3 kids, and just really enjoying life and working my hardest to be better every day.
And I want to thank you. I saw a post that you put on there yesterday on Facebook, and I wrote something down from it. I can't remember. It was something that you said that I believe would be so helpful to leaders in these days, but I can't remember what it is. It may pop back up. But you made a great post yesterday, and I believe that a lot of us would benefit from that, because sometimes people want to be where they're not supposed to be, or it's not the time to be at that table. Will you just discuss that a little bit, Bishop? And we're going to get into, and y'all, today we're talking about next level leadership. We're talking about next level leadership. Our world is in such a way, but we are in need of good leaders. Yeah. We are in need of effect. But would you talk about a little bit of what you talked about yesterday, as far as sometimes wanting to be at the table, or not just the table, wanted someone where the level it's so much you said, but just talk about that a little bit, Bishop.
Definitely. Yesterday, I just went live, and something I've been learning to do more and more as I matured more and more in my life. I've learned, Dr. Judy, that you don't have to be embarrassed by what you've conquered. You don't have to be embarrassed by what you conquered. Oftentimes, leaders are embarrassed from the very essentials that built them. So we're usually growing off of things that we're embarrassed to talk about. And so when people see you in your operational mode now, they don't understand really what it took to build the character development, the mentality in which you stand upon today. And so a lot of people look at us and they judge us by what they see, not understanding the baseline to what we deal with. And so I talked a lot yesterday about how I had to learn how to decorate my dilemmas. I was struggling a lot with places of inclusion, being invited, certain tables I wanted to be at, certain tables I desired to be at. And I alluded to the fact that a lot of us want to be at tables or be in a green room, as an example I use, where when you get there, you know nobody, so you're still not respected, and now you feel lost. Mm-hmm. And so many people are desiring to be at tables, and I'm talking from a standpoint of where I was. I wanted to be in this room. I wanted to be included in this. I wanted to be invited to this. But sometimes the invitation is not yours. And we have to learn that just because the invitation is not extended does not mean we should not celebrate what we see that is good. Because most people want to be invited to places that's good, but we want to be invited because, and watch this, we celebrate only to be invited. We don't tend to celebrate because it's good. Yeah. We celebrate with some type of tentacles attached to it. Like, you got to pull me into what you just did great. We have to become matured enough to recognize that greatness does not always include us. Greatness does not always include us. It's still great. It just might not be for you, but it does not mean it's not great. And so I also talked about the fact that I don't bring people to my church because they brought me to their church. Right. We don't do that. I don't make my people struggle to hear a gift that I'm trying to reward because it was something that benefited me. And we got to get out of that, church swapping and all that kind of stuff. We got to mature beyond that. We got to get a little stronger. And I said, I only call people who God is leading me to. And sometimes I accept invitations to go places and I preach places, but I don't turn back around and invite those people in. For years, I was considered to be arrogant. To this day, people still say I'm arrogant. They still say I'm cocky. They still say all these different things about me. And my truth is, and this is something the Lord gave me that gave me relief. It's not so much that you're arrogant, because if you get to know me, I give you everything I got. That's just true. I am selective, and all leaders should be selective. You can't allow everybody into your space because you can't allow every spirit into your ear. So you can't allow everybody into your space. Everybody can't just sit at your table, because when people sit and dine with you, when people hang with you, they're also influencers of you. And we got too many leaders who have too many influences around them. So now they can't make conscious decisions, and they have no pattern of behaviors because they got everybody at their table. Now, there are certain places that you don't qualify to get into. It don't mean you're bad. It just means you don't qualify for that space. And I had to accept that as well, that I didn't get to qualify for all the arenas that I desired. It didn't make the arenas cocky or arrogant. It meant it was not for me. And I had to learn to celebrate what I saw, because there was another table that God had for me. And so that was the essence of what I was talking about yesterday.
Yeah. And I mean, you're just saying some powerful thinking. And I believe that it really takes maturity to get to this place where you are, because number one, you got to understand you're not to be a part of everybody. That's maturity as a leader. And you do have to be selective. And it's not that you're cocky, it's that you have to be careful on this next level of where God is taking you. And you have to be able to handle the criticism, and the discouragement and all of that. You have to be able to handle that. So we want you to get into where you, powerful points. And I like what you said. The table or the arena you may want to be in still is great. And it can be great without you being invited. Yeah. And we have to, oh my, this is going to be a good talk. And so, but you have to realize that without getting angry or becoming competitive, or I'm going to do it better. I'm going to show them how to do it better.
That was something that I saw the other day. Um, my leader, Bishop Joseph Warren Walker III, has constantly taught this, and he showed this principle to me at my own consecration. So Bishop Walker's at my consecration. He walks down the aisle in the processional. He's the presiding bishop of the Full Gospel Church. He's also the senior pastor of one of the top 5 churches probably in America for Blacks. That's the Mount Zion Baptist Church in Nashville, Tennessee. He has all these accolades. He's the He's the one of the board members for TSU, Tennessee State University, one of the board members for Fisk University, Bank, all these things. He's board members for these individuals, for these companies. He walks down the center aisle, and do you know where he goes? He goes to the front row to sit. And my assistants had to say, no, Bishop, we have a seat for you in the pulpit. What that showed me was, don't ever arrive to the place that you take access for granted. Don't ever arrive to the place that you take access for granted. He did not take it upon himself that, yes, this is my son. Yes, I'm here to do the homily tonight. He did not take any of those things for granted to say that y'all better have me a seat on that stage. He literally first went to the first row, and they had to ask him, Bishop, would you please move to the stage where we have a seat reserved for you? This was just eye-opening to me, because it shows me we got, from one, too many entitlement leaders, too many leaders who feel like, because I've been over something, I'm entitled to everything. And that entitlement spirit, it really, it's a sign of immaturity. You mentioned that earlier. You mentioned the immaturity of so many individuals. You know, we have great football players. Football season is in right now. Y'all know the greatest team in the world is the Dallas Cowboys.
Cowboys. I agree with you.
It's the only team that matters in the nation. You either like them or you love them, but you talk about them. All right, so you like them or you love them, but you're going to talk about them. But in the football season, there's a lot of new rookie quarterbacks that have taken, that was selected this year, and they're playing. What's amazing to me is, as much attention as was given to them and as high as they were selected, all the teams have not deemed them to be their leader yet. And the reason why they have not been deemed as the leader is because they have not matured to lead. Gone is the day where we're just giving people the title and the permission for leading just because you were selected for something we see in the future. Ooh. You have to spend a little time in maturity before you qualify to lead people, because how can you lead people to a place that you have never, ever discovered yourself? You have to make sure that what you're doing is you understand where you've grown. The Bible says, lay hands on no man what? Seven. Take your time before you put hands on somebody and say, leader. Study them. Watch them. Because a leader is much more than a theory. It's actually a person who has proven patterns. Yeah. That's who you select to follow. You don't have time to be in a test game with your life, your career, your future, off of somebody who's trying to discover theirs as well. When you deem a person to be your leader, you're saying, I'm walking with somebody that I've seen results from. Yeah. Not perfect people, but I've seen some results. You can't prophesy leadership on me. Don't I believe that one day I'm going to be. No. We need to see something from you. You may not have become fully evolved, but we need to see some patterns that show that you have the character traits to lead.
Oh, wow. I want to say thank you to everyone who's tuning in. Bishop Thomas Colbert, Tara, Derrick Lee, Danette, Moria, Carolyn, my mama, Eric, so many people are tuning in. Thank you all so very much. If you would right now, go ahead and tag and share. Go ahead and tag and share. And if you have any questions for Bishop Mcrae, we'll open up the line in a few minutes, but I want him to talk some first, if you all don't mind. I would like for him to talk to us first. Bishop, and I think this is one of my pet peeves. When people who run with prophetic words and then they move too fast because the prophet has said, I honor prophets and apostles. I really do. I honor
and you them. Prophesy.
And I do prophesy.
Yes, you do.
I do prophesy.
And you're true prophet.
Thank you, Bishop. And I received that from you, Bishop. But I studied to do that, and I know the Lord. I was certain, but Bishop, let's speak to a moment because you just mentioned it about can't prophesy me into. Let's speak a little bit to that because I really want people not to be fooled. I really do. I want people not to be so caught up in that. I want our people to understand that you must study the word so you can discern the spirit of people. And a real prophet, you should be getting mad with them sometime. A real prophet, you should make you mad. A real prophet should make you so mad that you're gonna prove that they're right. Yeah, that what a real prophet should do to you. They should make you so angry. If you got a prophet that always making you happy, something wrong.
Yeah, we've gotten caught up between prophecies and word of knowledge.
Yes,
and you know the Bible speaks enough good to us that all of us have a degree of prophecy within us, because all you have to do is quote the word. The principles do work.
yes.
Prophecy, and I like to teach it this way: when people are getting into prophetic utterances, a few things are going to happen. The first thing that's going to happen, or one of the things that could happen, is that it's going to resonate with your spirit. Okay. The other thing is usually prophetic words are something that God has been speaking to you, but now he's bringing a confirmation to you. All right. The third thing that you got to note is that if the prophecy does not match up with the word of God, it is not of God. And so those are the three things that I look at with it. And we've gotten people so into, as the Bible says, I'm going to start a series that I'm going to do called Prophecy Fulfillment. And watch, the people are going to pack the church out because they're going to be thinking, oh my gosh, he about to prophesy houses and cars. No, I'm about to talk about itchy ears prophetically spoken to us. I'm about to talk about lovers of their own selves, which is prophetically spoken to us. Because I was having a conversation this morning asking, where do we see the church in another 15, 20 years? Mm-hmm. If we're seeing this type of behaviors in church now, what do I hand my daughter's kids when she has kids? My daughter's 13 years old now.
Wow.
What is the church going to be when she gets it and her kids have to walk into it? Because the prophecies are being fulfilled. We are becoming lovers of our own selves. People love themselves more than they love the work of the church. We're finding that. People are more in tune with, if the church does not profit me. I was teaching a class last night, my pastoral class that I teach. I'm doing a 5-week session now for pastors. Last night I got into teaching people about this drug addictive type of spirit that we have in church today.
Wow. Because
we're teaching people to come for the high of church. But the question is, what do you do when the high is not as high as the last high?
Man.
People tend to find other locations. People who are really addicted to drugs, they become infatuated with finding what takes me a little higher than the last time. So since I preached to you last Sunday, and when I preach to you, I'm preaching about how God is going to heal you. You become healed. Next week, you're not so into church because your high does not match it because you're healed from the last week's sermon. So now people are searching. Now we get into people saying, it just ain't doing it for me no more. You know why? Because church was created to be such a high.
Come on.
And not actually a place that we're supposed to just give reverence to God. And so we need real leaders that have real backbones that will not just keep feeding into the emotions of people. But a leader is one that is working to move people to destinations. I don't want to just be so relatable to you that I can't take you to realities.
Yeah.
I need to help you go places. I need to help you discover things. I need to help you conquer moments of your life. And when I help you conquer a moment, I need to inform you that you're going to go through another one very soon. But I need to build off of this faith for what you just went through so you can get to the next level of what God has for you.
Wow, this is good, Bishop. Thank you all again. I see you all are sharing and tagging people. Thank you. Continue to do that. Share this on your page. This is absolutely phenomenal, Bishop. And I was having this conversation with someone, and one of the things they said, and I want you to address this, please. And they said that we were talking about leadership, and they said this. They said Well, in the church, you can't expect as much as we do, or as much as they expect on your job. That's different leadership. Will you please address the fact when it comes to, now my belief is your leadership in the church, or how you lead in the church, should be, it should be duplicate of what you do in the secular. And matter of fact, you should be bringing that, you should be learning to enhance. What are your thoughts on that? Because if and you just said something else about just putting people in position who haven't been proven or tested. I know I'm throwing a lot at you, but you know, even when we talk, I try to get everything from you. And I do. I milk you like a farmer milking a cow. So, and I ain't never done that before, but I can see it. But so when it comes to, is there a difference in leadership in the church and leadership in the secular?
I would say actually leadership in the church should be that much more intensive. Bible says something, and that's the only thing I can believe. Bible says that it is the Lord who gives us the power to gain wealth. Yes. The only reason why people equate secular work to be more important and intensive than church work is because one is volunteerism and the other one is a direct check. It's something that gives direct benefit to them. We got to get out of the mentality of that we're really working for the job. Matter of fact, COVID season taught us that. It taught us because all this effort we give to our secular employment also showed us that at the drop of a dime, they'll let you go to benefit them still. And then you got to go back to God and ask God to give you assistance and help you. So this is one of the reasons why I believe that people should be, you need to identify why you lead in the church, you know, because why you lead first must be stemmed from a calling from God to do what I do. I don't believe in giving people assignments like, I want you to go do this. I really rather people come to me and tell me what they're feeling God is leading them to do, because at the end of the day, it's the relationship with God that holds you accountable. People who don't feel that the church should have as intense or as direct concentration as the secular are usually individuals who are just seeping out the information to us that their life and their relationship with Christ is not that secured. It's almost like tithing. I don't beat people across the head about tithing. Tithing is a reflection of where you stand with God. When you understand who he is and you understand the benefits of being with him, you have no problem with giving. Bible says that when your heart says, there may your treasures be what? Also. So therefore, the believer, the leaders of the church, we don't have to beat people down for things to do. Our job is to work the relationship. When we work the relationship and get them closer to God, it then begins to give them an indebted. They feel indebted to Christ. That I got to do this for God. They feel a mandate on their lives to do it. We're trying to get people to lead that do not have a mandate from God to be an authority in his kingdom. And we got to be honest with this. We're so into filling roles that we do not find out if people qualify for the applications. We're so into making sure that we got seats filled in our pews. We're the only church, we're the only corporation that allows people to come work and we don't find out what are you good at.
Right.
We just, you want a job, come on and work. So we can put on a roster to say, I got somebody over youth, I got somebody over outreach, I got somebody over my music. It don't mean they qualify. It just means they're available. And we got to get out of available leadership in the church and get into qualified leadership, because when you're using available leadership and not qualified leadership, you're contaminating the followers who are intellectuals. Right. They will not follow you. When you put a person up in front of people, what you're saying is, I trust them to be able to teach you something that you're not quite skilled for yet. And when I got intellectuals in my church, when you got people who are trained on these things and they're sitting in your congregations and you tell them to go join the outreach ministry and the outreach ministry don't know what they're doing in outreach, you just insulted everybody you assigned to that position. You said, I don't care enough of you all that I'm going to put somebody who I know don't know nothing to be over you. And for too long, church has been working on sympathy and off of companionship. Oh. No, you don't just get to walk into this because you related to somebody. You should be walking into this because you're called to something. It's totally different. The companionship syndrome, it needs to die. We got people pastoring churches that ain't anointed, people pastoring churches that ain't qualified, gifted, skilled, can't even read. But we call them to be pastors because their daddy was a pastor. No,
Right.
it fell on them. Don't mean it fell on you.
Right.
And we got to really catch on to this. Who is God calling, not who is available.
Oh, wow, Bishop, you're saying, oh, I hope y'all are getting it. This right here is some powerful stuff. Bishop, this is real talk. And I guess y'all can see, because this is the type of mentality that I have to follow. This is the type, he's younger than me, but there's wisdom. And the things that God has allowed him to grow into is doing some great things in the church. And we have to get out of this companionship. I can't put you in there just because you're my family, or just because you're my friend. You might be my friend, but you might not be able, called to lead this position. You know, and so and that's where we have to get into this next level leadership. We can't just put people in place because they're related to us or they're our good friends. One of the worst thing you can do is put a good friend in place just because they're good friend, and then they can mess up your entire set. I've seen people, Bishop, and let's address this. When they were with you, they did nothing, but all of a sudden they got all the vision and things in the world. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. It's amazing to me how people, they develop vision on their own time frames, and how and I want to just address something you also said there, Pastor Judy. You talked about friendships in leadership. You got to be careful, because sometimes those are the hardest people for you to also confront when they need correction.
You're right.
Sometimes it's hard for them to receive from you because you're so familiar. And sometimes it's hard for you to correct them because you care so much for them. And that's a hard place to be as a leader. And so leadership, and everybody got to catch this, leadership tends to be a lonely place. It tends to be a lonely place because you need access to make your own decisions.
Okay.
You need the abilities to make your own decisions. You need to be uninterrupted with God. Me and my wife, we work together in leadership as well within the church. And something that I do, she has to be very careful in what she speaks to me about her opinions, because we got to make sure that her opinions don't become my decisions as it relates to leadership.
Ooh.
So there's some things that, and we've been doing this for a few years now, some things that she know not to really give her opinion on. And when she gives her opinion, she'll say it like this: this is just my opinion. I'm not saying this that it needs to be done. I'm saying what I think I see. Now, I've learned to listen, but I have also learned to dissect, to make sure that what she sees is what God is saying. Okay. And people, we're counseling married couples, or those who are getting ready to get married. Something that we also often talk to them about is, hey, he's the head of the house. Make sure that you're not trying to maneuver or you're trying to influence his decisions. You still want to give him room to hear from God. And sometimes close proximity of relationships in leadership can contaminate the voice of God that is trying to give reason to our situations. And that's a hard pill to swallow when you got to tell who you love, no, that's not what we're doing.
And you're right. And sometimes, because I see my sister is on here from Scotland. Cindy, I'm glad that you're on here. She was near death just a few weeks ago, Bishop.
Wow.
Near death. And God has raised her up and brought her back. And she's on here. And she was saying that familiarity can breed contempt.
It can. That's good. That is really good. It definitely can breed contempt. Yes.
And we have to be so careful. We have to be, and I've learned this. We've pastored 26 years, and I've learned so much. We've made mistakes. We put people in place that we thought was with us. We've trusted people that we thought was with us, but we had to learn the hard way. And I'm gonna tell you why, because we didn't have many people who was willing to mentor us after we left our church. They weren't willing to mentor. And I'm real careful. I don't allow everybody to speak into me about leadership, and neither does pastor. And when I talk with pastor, a lot of this is what I say. How do you want to proceed? And there were some things that I did not agree with, but he's the pastor.
Right.
And so I want to say, as we go into this next level of leadership, you can't get mad when the leader don't do it, but you have to be careful who you listen to.
Yeah.
You have to be so, and sometimes people can push you so far out.
Yeah.
And it ain't your time to go there yet.
Right.
And they're saying, good thing, I see you, but it's not time to go there yet.
Watch this. And this is something I live by, Pastor Judy, because you just made another great point. I live by this concept, Romans 8:28. I really do live by that. And we know that all things work together for the good of them that love the Lord, and to them that are called according to his purpose. When you start a ministry, now I remember when Life Changes first started as well. So when you start a ministry, you're always going to have a crew that comes with you.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the crew that comes with you that looks to be extremely passionate with you will fall off and go away from you. I've experienced that at Experience Christian Center. All right. Some of them that leave will really make a bad imprint about you to justify why they left.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It does not mean it's true. It's just their abilities of defense for who may try to question them, or why did you do, and why did you leave? Right. I used to wonder why in the world the people that I've done the most for have left me. And I started feeling bad about it. I started feeling angry about it at one point in time in my ministry. And the Lord taught me something. He said, because I was in the same scenario, but I thought they was with me. I thought they was with me. And the Lord said they were with you. They was with you for a season. And then they left. And sometimes people leave. We are not ready for them to leave, but it's absolutely necessary for them to exit out, because we never know what they can hold back on for the next season while we're looking at the previous seasons. I learned that everybody who's come through my church through the 11 years that we've had this church have all shared in a contribution. We as leaders have to learn how to stop expecting contributions from people who no longer have anything to give. And then we have to accept the departure of those who no longer can have an investment. I hope
that's some real talk. This is next level leadership, y'all. This is next level leadership, because this is what you want. This is what these shows are about. These shows that are the Real Talk with Judy show is about taking you to a destination, helping you get there, help to empower you, help to launch you, propel you into your next. Because we have so many people who are doing things, but they're not ready. And so with this next level leadership, what we want you to understand, it got to be progressive and intentional.
And watch this, Pastor Julie. Let me finish that point I was talking about right there as well. When they no longer can deposit, we have to be willing to allow them to go. Watch this.
Yeah.
There's another scenario that talks about the fact that if you give a person, if a person pastors 50 people and you give them 500, they'll shrink the church back to 50 people, right? If a person pastors 500 and you give them 50 people, they'll grow it to 500 because that's their capacity. The capacity is to grow there. Everybody's not called to be a mega ministry, and that's absolutely fine. And everybody that has a mega ministry is not called to pastor smaller congregations. That's absolutely fine. And we got to stop measuring success based upon numbers. That's a failure in ministry for one as well. We got to get into understanding that everybody has a call, because I've met a lot of people that are totally uninterested in joining a mega ministry. If you meet them, they're like, hey, sometimes the first question is, how many people do you really know your members? And I'm like, yeah, I know them. I'll join your church, because they're not interested in knowing, being a mega ministry at all. But then you got some people that only want mega ministries. They don't want small ministries. They want something that's mega, something that is major. And for those individuals, that's fine as well. The church got to stop being so critical of people's decisions.
Right.
Now, when you decide that you want to leave my church and go to another church, you know what? I got to start maturing to the level of being excited that for one, you're in another church. Because I'm not in competition with another church. I don't care that you went to another church. I'm excited that you're happy at another church. What I do have a problem is when you go to another church and you want to dog the church that you left, because we were good enough to build you. So let us still be good enough where you are. And we got to take those things into consideration and stop allowing ourselves to be dogged out. Stop dogging other places. If you felt, here it is, the leading of the Lord to leave, you should not have to dog when you left. I left 2 churches in my lifetime. 2 churches in my lifetime. The first church I left, when I left that church, I did not ever tell anybody why I left. It wasn't their business why I left. I went to the next church. The next church I went to, I was a youth pastor at that church. It was a Baptist church. When I left that church, I left because it was time for me to leave. Did I have anything bad to say about that church that I left? Not at all. Great comments about the church. I knew that the Lord was telling me time to leave, so I didn't have to make up a defense for why I left. A lot of people make up reasons for leaving because they never had an instruction from God to depart. So since God didn't tell them to leave, they had to make up something to give them a defense mechanism for walking away. Good leadership says, hey, if the Lord is telling you this, I'm in the Lord's plan. I want you to do whatever the Lord says, even if it's not up under my tenure. That's good leadership.
That's
I just
good
want you to God wants you to be.
That's
Because
good.
leaders are about getting people to destinations. It's not about ruling cow pastures.
Right. It's like getting them to destination. So let's talk about this, Pastor. Let's talk about this, Bishop. Hey, listen, I got a few minutes and y'all can call in 850-671-1450, 850-671-1450. And I appreciate the comment. I'm so glad that you all are enjoying it. And that's another thing. Some things ain't for you. You know, some people like radio shows where it's all da da da. And some like this one, and some like the other one. So thank y'all for tuning in. These are my favorite kind of shows. I go to these talk shows where I am inspired, and that's why I do it. Bishop, let's talk about this. So you're a good leader. How do you work with or build up leaders in your congregation or in your place of employment that as talented or as knowledgeable as you without being intimidated?
Well, I think Bishop Shears said it best the other week when he was on. He said, good, confident leaders are not intimidated by potential leaders.
That's it.
So as a confident leader, matter of fact, this weekend just passed, we did an event, family friends weekend event. First time we've ever done it ever in the history of our church. Our church does a lot of first times. First time we ever did it. This by far, I stood up on Sunday morning and said, this by far was the greatest event our church has ever done. We literally took the cruise ship mentality and put it in place for our church for a weekend, Fridays to Sundays, something to do from sun up to sundown all night long. After parties and everything we did. Yeah, we had after parties with Pastor Judy. So we had all these kind of events, and it was so strong. And watch this. I gave vision to an individual and told her to run with it. She ran with it better than I could have ever done it. And I sat up on Sunday and had the whole church to stand and clap as we appreciated her. Good leaders make space for good leaders.
Wow.
People won't be so quick to leave you if you give them space to still be who they are. Because with them sitting up under you does not mean that they're not going to function in who they are.
Right.
They will function in who they are with you as long as you give space for them to be them with you. So let's not be so intimidated that people have to be pushed away to be proven of who they are. You should give them permission to flourish right with you. I always go to basketball. I always go to sports. Golden State Warriors was a great team. Golden State Warriors had Klay Thompson. They had Kevin Durant. They had Steph Curry. They had, a great team, right? They had Draymond Green. Great team. Andre Iguodala. Great team. The thing about them is when Steph and Klay played together, they put up record-breaking numbers. The Splash Brothers. But Kevin Durant comes in, who is potentially the league's leading scorer to a team that already puts up a lot of points. How do you make it work?
Yeah.
Everybody takes a step back. Everybody agrees that none of us may be MVP this year, but we're going to win a championship. Churches, businesses got to get championship oriented versus MVP oriented. Too many people want to be an MVP, but don't want to win a ring. We got to want to win a ring more than we want personal accolades. That's what good leaders do. We get championships.
Championship.
We don't just get MVPs.
Oh man, that is good talk. That is good talk. And I want to thank you all for tuning in, because that's the way it works, y'all. So we're working for championship, not to get the MVPs. MVPs will come if it's to come, but the team has to have championship, and then we have to know when to give the lead to the others, just like you said. So, Bishop, I know we went through all this, but when you hear next level leadership, what do you think about? I know we went through all of that, but I want us to, when you hear next level leadership, what do you think about?
When I hear next level leaderships, the first thing I think about is the difference between effective and effective. We have to be effective. All right. A lot of us are trying to be effective. Effective means we want to relate. We want to be relational. Effective means we bring about change. To be effective, it means producing a desired result. Yeah. We have to be mindful that the reason why we carry the title leader is we can produce desired results. We have to be result oriented. You are validated in how good of a leader you are by two things: how well you reach your mark and how well it happens after you're gone.
Yes.
That's what makes you a good leader. How well you reach your marks and how well it functions after you're gone. So we need to make sure we are effective in our processes and not just so relatable. We got a lot of people relating to stuff, but we ain't moving the needles anywhere.
Wow. They're
just saying, yeah, we can identify, but we have not moved the needles. We got to get involved into moving needles forward.
Man. Oh, wow, this is good. We got to get involved in moving needles forward. And we want to be effective, producing a desired result. Bishop Clark Lazar, thank you so very much for tuning in, sir.
Bishop Clark.
Yeah, Bishop Clark Lazar is on here.
Down south.
Oh, yes. And I'm getting ready to produce a leadership forum, and I already got some of y'all who's going to be on here. And I'm going to take the same concept that you did, Bishop, and we're going to do either a 5 or 6 week class, and it's going to be the Real Talk with Judy and leaders. Yes. And I already got some leaders that I want and who I have in mind to bring this to fruition. I've talked with Pastor Joseph Davis to help me lead this. So it's going to be, and I see, a couple of my leaders on here already, but I want to say this too. In order to enhance me, I often join what Pastor Derrick is doing, and sometimes he invite me to and he has always done this, invite me to speak or invite me to lead a workshop or something. In every church he's been in, he's brought me to it. And I want to say thank you so very much. But even in the 5 weeks that he's doing, I'm also registered for that. Why? Because I want to be the best that I can be, so those leaders who are with me can be the best that they can be. And so even my husband, we're investing in us so we can make sure we can invest in the leaders who are with us, so they can build. Pastor Derrick, the fabric of Life Changes is a leadership church.
Yes, it has always been too.
Yes,
has always been.
And so we produce. Go ahead, Pastor.
Pastor Judy, that right along that note that you're saying there. Last night in the training class, I was teaching the pastors that your job is not only to be concerned in the pews, but it's to be concerned in the communities. And I told them, I said that you have to be in tune with what's happening, so you can also be the advocate for those in your church who qualify for certain things, that they may not have the room, they're not in the space, but because you're there, you can bring them up to the place for it. And so when you and Superintendent Mandrell go out and you all invest back into you, what you really did was you invested into your leaders, because now you have opened a door that they couldn't get into, or maybe they're not in that space, but because you're there, you get to call them up and say, get in the game. It's time for you to play now. That's what effective leadership is doing. We're using ourselves. Watch this, because we're leaders, and sometimes we get the seat confused. Now that's a whole different discussion.
Oh, wow.
You're a leader, but you get the seat confused. You're not a leader with the seat to sit and everybody else sits under you. You're there to serve. Leadership means a high level of servanthood. And so it's your job to be an advocate for those around you.
Yeah. Oh man, this is really powerful. We're gonna have to come back because I got to have some more. I'm gonna do the leadership forum. I'm trying, but we'll get together so I can say exactly what would make it the most effective for the people who would attend. And we would work that out because I see so many people on here, so many people who have texts and they want it. I believe that leaders are wanting to be better leaders.
Yes. Yes.
I believe that Bishop, that leaders in this era want to be better. The real leaders.
Yes.
Want to be better leaders.
Mm-hmm.
So I gotta just take a moment, Bishop. I know that I have taken you all over, but I was trying to get everything a lot from you to give to the people. Because one of the things that I admire that you want to share everything. You will call me and say, "Hey, you got a few minutes? Let me share this with you." And it may take an hour and a half, but you're sharing principles that you see that will help. And I greatly appreciate that. To me, you are an awesome leader. You want to share, you want to pour, and you're quick to call me and say, "Hey, you got a moment? Get a pen and paper. Let me show you what we're doing. Let me tell you how we're doing and how it would fit with you." Mm-hmm. And so I greatly appreciate that. So take a minute or so, Bishop, and just say something to the people, and then we'll end.
Yes. Thank you again, Dr. Judy. Always a blessing and a pleasure to be with you. Leadership is all about moving needles. Make sure that you don't get your seat confused. You have a higher position, but you have that so that the world can see you, but glorify the Father. God wants to use you to open doors for other individuals. Please be confident that the Lord can trust you with high operating talent. Be confident that God can send you people that you don't have to work on pulling it out of, but people that can come and are ready to function in it. When you understand this, that God has sent this kind of talent to you, it's then your job, it's your commission to make sure you foster and give them playing fields where they can be successful. Leaders are all around us. Let's make sure we're pouring into them, we're investing into them, and we're pulling them up so that they can win as well.
Man, that is awesome. So leaders want to help other leaders win. Thank you so very much, Bishop Derrick Mcrae. That's Bishop Derrick Mcrae from the Experience Christian Center in Orlando, Florida. And I'm telling you, he's making things happen like I don't know what. And to everyone, all of you, thank you all so very much for tuning in to the Real Talk with Judy live radio show. I greatly appreciate you. Those who stayed when we had our technical difficulty on Facebook and YouTube, thank you all so very much. Those of you on the radio, thank you so very much for always joining. Listen, you can be wherever you are in the world. Just download the Hallelujah 95.3 app. It's free and you can get it from anywhere in the world. The Hallelujah 95.3. And you don't we got some good shows on here, but make sure you always tune in at 11:30 to 12:30. And go ahead and share this again on your page. If you would share this. We touch so much. And Bishop, thank you for giving so much. I want to say to the sisters, girl, go ahead and mark your calendar Monday, September 27th at 7 p.m. We will be on. I got some great thoughts, and we want to see you at 7 p.m. It will be on Facebook, so you can get the sign in. And so we want you to be on. Next Tuesday, we're going to discuss the power of forgiveness. The power of forgiveness with psychologist Dr. Jane Marks. She will be on next Tuesday with me. And then October the 5th, my special guest is going to be Dr. Valerie Daniels Carter, the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks. She's going to be on next October the 5th, and she is excited. And the subject is the power to win. Put that back up for me, Priscilla. The power to win, the journey of a winner. And y'all, she's a billionaire, and she has taken time to come on this show, but she owns Kentucky Fried Chicken. She owns Chick-fil-A's, Burger King's, everything. And she's the owner of the Milwaukee Bucks, who just won the championship. And she is, that's a bad lady. That's a bad lady. I bring these people to you. I bring this show to you to empower you, to increase you. If I learn it and people are pointing to me, I want those same people to come back and pour into you. I am a good leader. I'm a great leader, but I know I can be greater. And so that's what I seek after, Bishop. I seek to be greater. I see Tara on here. Tara don't care. She's a manager, a supervisor at this plant, but I don't care what book she reads. She always invite me. If a door open for her, she always get me. Certified in diversity training, just everything. That's what good leaders do. They see what you have, and then they want you to be the best. Again, to everybody, everyone who has tuned in, and I want you to know, I am looking at Bishop Mcrae, Bishop Lazar, and some others. Apostle Joe Davis is going to help me pull it together. And I got some women coming too. I got some women coming on here, and we're going to put together one of the greatest leadership forum or conference or whatever as we sit and talk. It's going to be good. I promise you. It's going to be good. So join us tonight for Bible study. My cousin, Minister Eddie Hunter, will be teaching Bible study tonight. He's a prophetic man of God. God has anointed him. So if you would join us tonight, it's going to be real good. Bishop Colbert, thank you. So many people on here I can just thank. And to all of you, Danette, Carolyn, Mo, Angus, and Cindy, thank you all there in Scotland. We want to thank you all so very much. This show is worldwide, and we want to thank you all for tuning in. Dr. D, thank you again for another great show. Priscilla, thank you. This has been the Real Talk with Judy live radio show with Bishop Derrick Mcrae from Orlando, Experienced Christians. Y'all go check him out. He does some wonderful things. I'm always involved with him. I want to say thank you, Bishop, so very much. Thank you. So this has been the Real Talk with Judy live radio show with yours truly, the Real Talk, Dr. Judy, your host. God bless you.
Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy on the radio. Real talk with Judy. Real talk with Judy.